Hey man, what's going on? What are you doing at my house? Yeah, I'm at your house, because I just wanted to ask you a quick question. More importantly, why are you wearing sunglasses? It's like 30 degrees out. Yeah, I was inside for so long that whenever I go outside now, the sun just kind of burns my eyes. I know, pretty sad, right? But, you know, inside is just where it's at, man. Outside is just kind of overrated. And like, why would I go outside when I could just stay inside and play video games all day? So I heard you started Pokemon XY? Oh yeah, I did start Pokemon XY after I finished Best Wishes. It was all right. There were some things I really enjoyed, and there were some things I didn't really enjoy. But overall, it was fine. So how far are you? How is it so far? I've been watching it for about a week, and I've gotten into the first gym, I believe. Yeah. Ash just beat Viola. Wait, hold on. You've been watching XY for a week and only have gotten to the first gym? No, you're coming with me, man. We gotta go take care of something. This is ridiculous. You're 1 week in and you're only at the first gym. That's just depressing. You're coming with me. Let's go. Well, I really don't have anything going on right now, so I guess I'll come. So, can you please explain to me what we're doing in your garage? Why I take you to my garage? Dude, this is my man cave. I do everything down here. It's so dark and it's just dirty. It's a nice place for me to go. It's just so relaxing. But today you're going to be watching XY in my garage because it's just the best place to watch it. Wait, why can't I watch XY anywhere else? Why does it have to be your garage? Dude, I'm telling you, this is going to be the best experience of your life. 1 entire week just watching Pokemon. I couldn't ask for anything better. I mean, you know, screw school, screw work. You know, why would you have a productive life when you could just sit down and watch the best Pokemon anime season? Fine, I guess I'll watch it. When are we gonna start? You think I'm gonna watch it with you? No, I'm leaving right now. Have fun. Oh, I'll be back for you in a week. Hold on, you're just gonna leave me here? Hey man, so how was the, Well, it seems like you're doing okay. So, how are you mentally? All I can think about is water shurikens. They're just constantly in my head, just barraging my thoughts. Why? Why did you make me do this? Okay, well you seem to be doing pretty okay, so please tell me, what are your thoughts on XY? I'm really curious to know what they are. You want to hear my thoughts? Fine, I'll tell you my thoughts, okay? I'll tell them to you! Greetings, my comrades, and welcome back to Zanolith. Love is in the air because today we set our sights on the Kalos region and Pokemon the Series XY. Welcome back to the new era of the Pokemon anime series, where we take an in-depth look at Pokemon Best Wishes, XY, Sun and Moon, and finally Pokemon Journeys. Today is the second part of that video series. Unlike last time when we looked at probably the most hated Pokemon anime season, today we are probably taking a look at probably the most loved. Pokemon the Series XY was the anime that accompanied the 6th generation of the Pokemon franchise. It has Ash, Serena, Clement, and Bonnie traveling around the Kalos region, so Ash can earn 8 gym badges to participate in the Kalos League. Unlike any other season of the anime, XY has a lot more shonen elements and makes the characters much more mature than any other Pokemon series. This is why so many Pokemon fans love this portion of the anime. As for myself, it is far from my favorite series, but it's not bad by any means. It's still a great portion of the anime, and I am very excited to talk to you guys about it in today's video. So like the previous video, we have 6 different categories to talk about: characters, Pokemon, battles, and animations, which I'll be putting together today since they kind of go hand in hand with each other when it relates to XY, story, and overall enjoyability of the series. As you can tell, we are going to fully analyze the Pokemon XY anime and answer this question: Was Pokemon XY truly one of the anime's highest points, or is it a little overrated and falls flat compared to other seasons of the anime? Now, I encourage you guys to leave your opinions on XY down in the comments down below, and with that being said, my name is Zanolith, and let's talk about Pokemon the series XY. So let's start off this category off with our four main characters: Ash, Serena, Clement, and Bonnie. Obviously, we're going to start off with Ash, who was a completely different character in XY than he was in Best Wishes. I mean, like, guys, like, real talk right now. Alexa, like, seriously, what did you put in this guy's food on that plane ride? Like, what did you actually put in it? Because Ash is much more mature in this series in both looks and personality. Now, my problem with this version of Ash is that I feel like the battling aspect kind of consumes him as a character. While there are still goofy moments, there aren't nearly as many, which to be honest makes me kind of sad. Besides that, Ash in this series is really awesome and badass, and the character arcs he goes through with his Pokemon and friends this season are very solid. While XY Ash is not my favorite iteration of the character, he is definitely still one of the best iterations we have. Next up, we are going to be talking about Serena! Now, Serena is both bad and good at the same time. I didn't enjoy how long it took for her to find out what she wanted to do, but after that, her character becomes one of the best in the entire series. Serena was a very nice addition to the group and delivered a very unique perspective between Ash and one of his female companions. The idea of Serena having romantic feelings for Ash is something the anime had really done, with the only exception being Misty in the original series, and it wasn't even this large of a degree. It's just nice to have a character that uses Ash as her main motivation and driving force throughout her character. Even when she leaves for Hoenn at the end of XY, Ash is still her main drive when it comes to completing her goal. The Pokemon showcases aren't my favorite thing in the world, but they did their job. But come on guys, you cannot make me believe that Serena's performance was worse than Aria's. Like, she clearly won that. Serena is probably one of, if not the most popular character in the anime. I mean, XYZ ended almost 4 years ago now, and people are still complaining about her not returning to the anime. However, enough of that, because the future is now, thanks to science. Enter one of my favorite XY characters, Clement. He starts off as an unconfident battler who feels ashamed of himself by losing his gym. But after traveling with Ash and experiencing lots of adventures with him, Clement becomes the best gym leader in the entire series. I think everyone can agree that Ash vs. Clement is one of, if not the best gym battle in Pokemon history. Clement's arc up to that point was done amazingly, with the highlight being Clement leaving the group to go train for his Nimble face-off against Ash. And also introducing Sawyer, I guess that was also pretty cool. But even after his arc concludes, Clement definitely has a major role in XY. I just wish they gave him more time after post-5th gym, but he was still a great character and one that I personally love. Also, Rip Clembot, you will be missed. Now, to end off the main group, we have Bonnie, who's just a joy to have around. Not only is she a cute little kid who just lightens up everyone's day, she's an actual character. Bonnie is just an admirer of Pokemon and wants to be friends with them. Basically any shonen protagonist amplified by 5. However, Bonnie shines the most in XYZ when Zygarde is introduced. I genuinely teared up when she sang the song to save Zygarde. It was so heartfelt and really represented what kind of character Bonnie is. Bonnie isn't nearly as good as the other characters, but it's not like she fell behind any of them either. Now, we have gotten the main group out of the way, so I want to talk about some of the less important characters, but pretty important to XY, starting off with my favorite character in all of XY, Alon. Alon is such a great character. His arc has changed him a lot from the beginning to the end. At the beginning in the Mega Evolution specials, he is cool and collected, doesn't really seem to care about much besides gaining more Mega Evolution energy and experience with Charizard. Over time, he is slowly manipulated by Lysander and gains Mega Evolution energy to power the Megalith. I love the look of terror and anger in Alon's face when he learns he was just being used, that everything Lysander promised him was all a lie, and not only that, he caused a crisis and costed Ash's Kalos League victory, something Ash really cared about compared to Alon, who entered the league just to battle him. Overall, Alon's character arc from beginning to end is very well executed, especially his Bomb and Marin. He is easily my favorite character in the XY anime. Now moving on to Marin, she is pretty cool. I liked her character arc and just her personality in general. She was introduced mainly to be a catalyst for Alon's story, but she has enough character to stand on her own. As for some of the other rivals, I'm gonna briefly talk about them. Sawyer was fine. I like how he admired Ash and then eventually surpassed him for a bit. His arc overall was to have a battle with Ash as his equal, and he definitely accomplished that, so Sawyer is very solid. As for Serena's main rival, at least in my opinion, being Miette, she was just kind of there. I mean, she really didn't do much, and the only reason she was a rival to Serena in more ways than one was because she also liked Ash. But besides that and her showcase performances, she was just kind of meh. And then we get into the trio from the XY games. Tierno was the best one out of the three. He had a really cool personality, and I like how he was part of the whole Karina storyline. Shauna was fine. She was a fine rival towards Serena, and she definitely worked and did her job. Trevor, let's be honest, he was just irrelevant. He really didn't have much to do. I think both Tierno and Trevor would have been benefited from having more battles with Ash and just showing up more often, but the characters in XY are very solid overall, and I enjoy all of them. So XY has a lot of cool and memorable Pokemon, and I'm going to go over all of them, starting off with Ash's team. So we're obviously going to skip Pikachu, and Greninja will be...
Goga? Opo, Sachika Goga, come back to me. I love you, I miss you, Goga.
Yeah, we'll talk about him later on, since Greninja is more related to the story of XY, which we'll be covering later on. So let's start off with Ash's bird this time around, Talonflame. This Pokemon was very cool and fast, but it was also just kind of generic. While there were some unique aspects once in a while, I personally feel that Talonflame just isn't as cool as some of the other bird Pokemon, such as Swellow or Staraptor. Unfezant, on the other hand, yeah, Unfezant can just leave and never come back. But Talonflame, yeah, kind of just a generic bird Pokemon. Then we have Hawlucha, who is by far my favorite Kalos Pokemon of Ash's. Its shining personality and its skills in battle created a really awesome Pokemon. I also love its relationship with Noivern, acting like its big brother figure. I just wish Hawlucha got more screen time later on in the series, but besides that, I absolutely love this man. As for his last two members being Goodra and Noivern was pretty wasted. I wish he got more screen time because Noivern is honestly one of my favorite Kalos Pokemon, and Ash having him was a really cool idea. Too bad he really didn't get much screen time, but as for Goodra, I love this character, I loved his arc overall, and I think he had one of the best stories in the series of XY. My only complaint with this Pokemon, similar to the other Pokemon, is that I wish they did get more character after Season 2, but besides that, the arc with Gumi evolving into Goodra was really cool and I really enjoyed it. Ash's Kalos team is very good, but it's not my favorite. So moving on to Serena's Pokemon, we have Braixen, Pancham, and Sylveon. I have to say I don't really like Braixen. Now I did like it as a Fennekin. Its personality was really solid, and I like how it represented somewhat of Serena's personality, but once it evolved, I feel like it just kind of lost most of its personality. Now, it was still a really cool partner for Serena, and thank God it didn't evolve into Delphox. But it just wasn't, I just really wasn't the biggest fan of Braixen overall. Pancham, on the other hand, was awesome. I loved its personality on how it was always trying to be cool and impressive, and allowed for a really cool dynamic between Serena and her other Pokemon. Now, Sylveon is my favorite Pokemon of Serena's. Its personality was really good, and its evolution from Eevee to Sylveon was really well executed, and I mean evolution involved it actually evolving into Sylveon and the evolution of its character growth. Things start to get interesting here because Clement's interesting because half of his Pokemon are with him and the other half are at the gym with Clembot. For this video, I'm only going to discuss the Pokemon that he traveled with, since those are the ones fans made better connections with. Chespin was amazing. Chespin took the Piplup and Oshawott role in this series, and I love these Pokemon with all my heart. I love its gluttonous personality, and I can relate because I also love food. It didn't do much overall, but that didn't stop me from admiring it. As for his other mons, Zanolith was really cool. I think this Pokemon was the ace of Clement's team. Well, I know it wasn't, but it's the Pokemon I feel has the best bond with Clement. It was a Pokemon he caught after losing his gym and was with him for the entire XY series. Luxray. Woo! What a badass! This Pokemon was so cool, I especially liked it during the Lumio City Gym battle. What an awesome Pokemon. And now I'm going to talk about the Dene real quickly. This Pokemon was great. Its relationship with Pikachu and the other Pokemon was amazing. Its relationship with Bonnie was amazing, and it must be protected at all cost. Look how precious he is! Now you're probably wondering why I'm not mentioning Zygarde or Squishy or whatever you want to call them. Well, I'm going to talk about them later with Greninja.
Goga? Opo, Sachika Goga, come back to me.
No! But what I was trying to say is that I'll talk about both of them during the story section. But now it's time to move on to one of the things that I believe is the best part of XY, the battles and animation. Now, I want to talk about probably the best aspect of Pokemon XY. Even those who hate this series cannot say the battles in this series were bad because the fact of the matter is they were far from it. Since XY mainly focused on the battles overall, a lot of the animation budget was spent to make the battles the best in the entire series, and I think the battles in XY are the best in the entire series, at least from an animation point of view. This is due to a multitude of reasons, with the major one being the addition of the brand new 3D camera. This was used to make the battles have a lot more fluency and fast-paced action, and it helped a lot during gym battles and league battles. To be honest, I don't really understand why they got rid of this feature in later seasons, but I'm not going to question it because the animation in Sun and Moon and Journeys is also pretty solid. As for the other things that make the battles in XY amazing are the actual battle animations itself, and the story behind a lot of the battles in Kalos. Some of the best gym fights in all Pokemon are in XY, and although the battles were really good, the stories behind them made them so much better. Of course, I'm talking about Ash vs. Karina and Ash vs. Clement, which are two amazing battles, but the stories behind those battles made the battles so much better. For Karina, it was the rivalry she shared with Ash and the battle she promised him after he helped her master the power of Mega Evolution. For Clement, it was to prove to his friend he was a worthy opponent and that he could hold his own in battle no matter what. Both battles represent a story that helps the battle have more depth. But even those battles that didn't have that level of detailed storytelling, such as Ash vs. Ramos, Ash vs. Viola, and Ash vs. Grant, are still amazing battles due to the sheer level of detail presented in the battles. As for some of the standout fights in this series, we have a few to tackle. I've already mentioned Karina and the Clement fight, but the Olympia and Wolfric fights were also amazing, as they helped set up the Ash Greninja storyline. In regards to the league, we only really have the top 4 to talk about. Ash vs. Sawyer and Ash vs. Alon were both amazing fights, however, I think the Sawyer fight is the best battle in the series. The animation and depth of the story behind that battle just felt more natural than Ash vs. Alon. Also, you know, Ash won that fight. When it comes to the battles in XY, you can probably tell I don't really have any criticism when it comes to it. Every battle in this series is amazing, and I actually wish they kept this style of battles in future generations. In my opinion, this was the best part about Pokemon XY, and now we get into something I am a little mixed about, that being the story of the anime. Let's talk about the story of the XY anime. Now we have a lot to cover here, since the story has a lot of highs and some lows as well. As for the original 2 seasons of XY, it's pretty straightforward. The biggest plot lines are the Karina and Clement ones, which I already discussed in the battles and animation section. As for Serena, I already talked about her character, but I like her progression from XY Episode 1 to the end of Season 2. She definitely goes through a lot, and the Pokemon showcases are also really cool to see. While being less exciting versions of contests, again, they were really entertaining to a certain extent, and we also received several Mega Evolution specials that focused on Alon, Lysander, Steven, and Marin. They were really cool, and as I mentioned before, Alon is my favorite XY character, so I really did like these specials. By the end of Season 2, they were setting up 2 major things, Zygarde and Greninja, and this is where we enter XYZ, and where some of my problems with this series start to surface, at least from a narrative perspective. So, we have 2 major plot points that take up a majority of the season, that being Zygarde and Ash Greninja. Now, I'm going to get Zygarde out of the way first, so we can talk about Greninja later. I actually really like the Zygarde plotline presented in the XY anime. It was way better than the story of the XY games, and actually provides a very interesting narrative. Lysander feels like an actual threat, and I appreciate how the anime expanded on the characters and concepts provided in Kalos and made them so much better. I also really like the dynamic between Zygarde, or Z1, or Squishy, whatever you want to call them, and Bonnie. One of my favorite moments in the XY series is when Bonnie sings to Zygarde to free it from the clutches of Lysander. It is generally a really heartfelt moment and was one of the most emotional moments in the series, like I mentioned before in the character section. Not to mention an amazing character moment for both Bonnie and Zygarde. As for the rest of the Zygarde plotline, it was just fine. I really enjoyed it and it allowed for a much better story than the one we got in the XY games. I already stated the Team Flare arc is one of my favorite arcs in the series, only surpassed by the Alola League. So yes, I really enjoyed the Zygarde storyline. Now, this is where things get interesting, guys, because now we are going to move on to Greninja and the Kalos League plotline. Now, I loved Ash Greninja when it first came out. It was so badass, cool, and awesome in fights, and had a genuine good character arc, and the bond with Ash and Greninja was just a really awesome concept. I will not take that away from Ash Greninja, but I don't think a new form was necessary to make Greninja's character great. Now, I understand completely why they did it. Not only did it give Ash a quote-unquote mega without bringing Charizard back for the second series in a row, but it also amplified the hype factor of the battles. But I feel like the point of giving Greninja a brand new transformation just didn't work well at all. Now I understand they explained the transformation, but it was a brand new thing and it just didn't really make much sense, at least to me. Now I will be fair, other moments with cool transformations like the Thunder Armor and the 10 million volt Thunderbolt weren't also explained, so this isn't just a problem with Ash Greninja, rather an overall problem with the anime as a whole. But I think the concept of Ash and Greninja having such a strong bond that it activates a new transformation just doesn't add up. If Ash were to have this power with any of his Pokemon, wouldn't it make more sense for it to be with someone like Pikachu, Charizard, or Infernape, just to name a few? Now I will say they did establish a very unique bond between the two, but not to the level of some of Ash's other Pokemon. Also, due to the new transformation, Greninja took up a lot more screen time than any of the other Pokemon in Ash's team. Like, I wanted to see more of his other Pokemon in the league, but they just skipped to the 2 battles where Greninja is relevant. And we'll get into the league later. It just bothers me how Pokemon XY goes from that to XYZ to practically Now, in the end, it's just a nitpick I have with Greninja, and Greninja was still pretty cool overall. And as for the league, this is an opinion I'm going to stand by for the rest of my life. It was one of the worst leagues in the series, in my opinion. And I mean the league, not the top 4. The top 4 of the Kalos League was awesome. The battles were great and the animation was top tier, but the rest of the league being sidelined to get to the 2 Greninja fights just undermined the rest of Ash's team and the rest of the other characters participating in the league. Like, yeah, I don't particularly like Tierno and Trevor, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't get more spotlight. And again, Greninja dominates the screen for a majority of the competition. And yes, Ash lost the league, everyone was pissed, but in the end, I prefer that they decided to end it in Alola, because if Ash won it here, he would have won with Greninja, and in my opinion, that would have just undermined Ash and Pikachu's entire journey. And while I feel like Ash winning with Greninja here would be kinda cool, I feel like it would also be sort of a disrespect to long-term fans. But in the end, it was still BS how he didn't win the league. In the end, the plot of XY was just overall above average for a Pokemon anime. I like a lot of things and didn't like some other things, but overall it is one of the anime's strongest narratives, and I can say that with confidence. So, we have reached the conclusion of today's video, the enjoyability/conclusion section, and like I stated in all my previous reviews and retrospectives, I cannot answer this category for you. How you enjoy any form of media is up to your own subjective interpretation. You could love XYZ from the bottom of your heart, or you could hate it with a burning passion. As for where I stand, I'd say I'm in the middle. XY isn't my favorite series, but it's not my least favorite either. I think XY was a very ambitious series that I believe was executed very nicely and was very well done. The shonen elements brought upon a new level of maturity, not really seen in any other Pokemon anime series. However, the implementation of some new anime original storylines not only amplified my enjoyment, but also took away from some of it as well. But if I had to say anything about the adventure through Kalos, if I had to represent it in one word, I'd say exciting. It delivered an adventure full of thrills and plot twists and generally got me excited and more invested in Pokemon. That investment later on continued into future seasons. And I mean, I go as far to say that XY is how I got involved in the Pokemon anime community as a whole, and eventually that love and involvement later on motivated me to make a channel revolving around the Pokemon franchise. So, while XY is not my favorite, I have to thank it. Without this series, I would have potentially never made videos about Pokemon. And while I know there is still a bit of controversy revolving around the newer seasons, I still think XY was a solid portion of the anime, and although I think we need to move on and appreciate the present Pokemon as it is now, that doesn't mean we can't go back and appreciate the past. Well, everyone, that's going to be it for today's video. Remember to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications to never miss an upload, and to share these videos out there with friends so they can come here and join me for my journey. Also, I do have a Twitter page, so please go follow me on there if you want to see more of me, and big thanks to Shiny Zorwark and the PokeRap for making cameos in today's video. Next time, we're taking a trip to the tropical beaches of Alola when we come back to this series eventually, but until then, I'll catch you guys next time.